we're faced in the United States with a prospect for the first time in our history of having two gentlemen running for the vice presidential slots of their respective parties who are Catholic. That's Paul Ryan, the Republican, and Joe Biden, the Democrat, each of whom represent perhaps different wings of thinking in the Catholic Church and along the lines of Catholic teachings on such things as abortion, homosexual marriage, and the like. And Mr. Donohue of the Catholic League has spoken about this in the past, and again in a column which he wrote in which he drew some distinctions between the two and their relative positions on abortion and social issues. Mr. Donohue, can you expand a little bit on what you had written this week?
Yes, generally speaking, Catholic activists, not necessarily the people in the pew, but Catholic activists over the last several decades have broken, unfortunately, into two different camps. The pro-life people, for whom abortion is the premium issue, and the social justice camp, for which the poverty and reaching out to the poor is the central issue. One would hope that Catholics could actually bridge that and be on both sides. But here we have in this election, Paul Ryan, most clearly identified with the pro-life wing, and Senator Biden, who's most clearly identified with the social justice wing. However, not all issues are equal. For example, the Catholic Church does not take a specific position on the best way, the best means to help the poor, only that we should help the poor. One could argue we should lower taxes or raise taxes as the best means. Should we expand the entitlement state or should we decrease the entitlement state? That's a healthy debate. And so I guess one could argue that both Ryan and Biden can make equal claim to helping out the poor. When it comes to abortion, clearly Ryan is a man who is pro-life, has a consistent record of being pro-life. On the other hand, Joe Biden is an enthusiast for abortion rights. So we have a big difference there. But the difference is even graver. The fact of the matter is the Catholic Church regards abortion to be intrinsically evil. So Joe Biden is defending a policy which the Catholic Church regards as intrinsically evil. Joe Biden also supports the idea of two men getting married. Obviously, the bishops, the whole Catholic community rejects that formulation, and so you have a big difference. But there's one major difference that I want to mention. It doesn't deal with policy. There's been one bishop in the United States who was mildly critical of Paul Ryan in terms of his budget. Never has Paul Ryan been reprimanded or chastised by priests and by bishops and told not to come to a particular church. The same is not true of Joe Biden. Most people are unaware of this. Joe Biden has been summarily reprimanded by several bishops. He's been told by priests to stay away. That's not a burden that Paul Ryan carries. So as far as I am concerned, it's very clear. Joe Biden really has dug himself a hole with the Catholic community.
Now, I notice Archbishop Champa has spoken of Joe Biden as being morally exhausted. Is this what you're talking about as to his positions?
That's right. You have Archbishop Chaput, you have Bishop Morlino, you have other bishops who have spoken up, and priests as well in his local diocese and in his parish have spoken up. And that's largely because of what happened in 2008. Joe Biden went on Meet the Press and basically made the argument that, you can be a good Catholic in good standing and be pro-abortion. That's just basically a paraphrase. Well, not exactly the case. The Catholic Church no more supports abortion than it does racism and genocide. And Biden should know that. If he doesn't know it, then he's ignorant. And if he does know it, then maybe he's not telling the truth. All I know is that several bishops came thundering down on his head for misrepresenting authentic Catholic teaching in 2008. And that's not the only time that he's gotten himself into trouble with the episcopate.
Now, granted, the so-called Catholic vote is one that is a battleground for both parties. The fact that these two gentlemen are both Catholic, would you hazard a guess as to how that would play out in the election in November?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that Joe Biden will get the support of the liberal social justice wing, as they did in 2008. But remember what happened in 2008. While Catholics together, as an aggregate, did go for Obama over McCain, when you got to practicing Catholics, that's roughly half of the Catholics, they went for McCain over Obama by a mere 1%. But my point is this. I expect that the difference between, in this case, Romney-Ryan dealing with Obama or Biden amongst practicing Catholics won't be 1%. It'll probably more like in the order of 7 to 8%. In other words, it's going to make a pretty big difference. The total aggregate then for the Catholic community will be pretty close to even. The gap that existed unfavorably for the Republicans in 2008 will be washed away in 2012.
Well, thanks so much. Bill Donohue of the Catholic League will be continuing to watch this as the electoral year goes on, and we hope to get in touch with you again.
Thank you, and thank you for your good work.
Thank you very much. This is Martin Barrios with Sparrow Forum.